Magnitude 4.9 earthquake has hit southwest China's Sichuan province. The China Earthquake Network Center said it struck Rongxian County just after 1 p.m. local time at a depth of around 5 kilometers. So far, 2 people have been killed. We'll bring you more details as we get them here at CGTN.
If you've been outside today, you've probably been blown around by those strong, gusty winds, but they're not only wreaking havoc here in our area. Check this video out from Ontario, Canada. The extremely cold temperatures combined with the strong winds caused ice to blow from the Niagara River over a retaining wall and then onto a busy highway. The Niagara Parks Police Service posted this video onto Facebook asking drivers to be cautious of what almost looks like a small avalanche.
Doesn't matter what you are or who you are, the wind will blow you over today. It's been that kind of day.
Strong, gusty winds have caused havoc in Italy along the Adriatic coast. 15 crew members had to be rescued by helicopter after a cargo ship and tugboat ran aground. Floodwaters have turned streets into rivers along the Bari coast. In the Lazio region, 2 people in their 70s were killed on the spot after a wall collapsed, and a Romanian man died when a tree fell onto a car near Rome. The gale-force winds with gusts hitting over 100 miles an hour swept along the Adriatic Sea, mangling roofs, toppling trees, disrupting traffic and shattering windows. It's a busy day for firemen cutting up the fallen trees. Unsafe walls and debris have been cordoned off for safety as the clean-up begins.
Floods have forced thousands from their homes in Northern California. The Russian River is overflowing and still rising. Meg Oliver is in a town tonight that is surrounded.
Jeff, the Russian River is rising so fast. Homes are surrounded, cars are submerged, and the town is now virtually an island cut off in every direction. Guerneville, a resort town 75 miles north of San Francisco in California's wine country, is just one of scores of communities in trouble here. The river along its south side is expected to crest at 46.1 feet at 9 p.m. here. That's 14 feet above flood stage and the biggest flood here in 22 years. Fallen trees, downed power lines, and stranded residents are taxing first responders and their resources.
Do you even have boots on?
No.
Darren Dempsey walked more than a quarter of a mile to make sure everyone he knew was okay.
How far did you have to walk to get to your boss's house?
Pet's gas station.
And he's okay?
Yeah, he's fine.
Okay, so are you going to go back to check on him again?
I'm going to get my kayak.
Evacuations were ordered for more than 24 towns along the Russian River. Jeff, for the residents who decided to stay here, they could be trapped for at least another day.
This morning, it is a very difficult morning in the Deep South, where a devastating tornado outbreak swept across several states and caused a disaster near Auburn, Alabama. At least 23 people were killed in Lee County by the deadliest tornado since the one that hit in Moore, Oklahoma in 2013. The twister that destroyed homes, businesses, and lives was one of a dozen reported in Alabama yesterday.
In the Northeast, parts of that same system dumped more than a foot of snow in some areas overnight. It was the final act of a powerful storm front that raced across the country over the weekend. We have correspondents in the Southeast and the Northeast, but we begin with Mark Strassman in Beauregard, Alabama, where the tornado damage is described as catastrophic. Mark, good morning.
Good morning. This is County Road 38, and there were fatalities on this road. You can see why. The homes on both sides are gone, just gone. There's a eerie beeping sound going off behind me. Those are smoke detectors going off, but there's no one here left to answer them because that is the only sign of life there is here. This community scarred in every sense of the word. At first light, more than 150 people are going to fan out in a sweeping search and rescue operation, and they're braced for the possibility of finding more bodies.
Oh, dude, that's a big tornado. Oh, big. Oh, my God, it's right. It's in my face.
The tornado was at least a half-mile wide when it touched down in Lee County, Alabama, shredding everything in its path, leaving homes and businesses in rubble. People had all of 20 minutes warning to find shelter before the massive tornado devastated the area.
Houses completely destroyed, homes that just slabs left where once stood a home. The contents of one residence, we know for a fact, was located over 1,000 yards away.
The National Weather Service says the tornado was at least an EF3 with winds between 136 and 165 miles per hour.
We're talking several miles that it traveled on the ground. The damage is significant. I would put it into the category of catastrophic.
Many of the storm victims lived in Beauregard, Alabama, including 6-year-old A.J. Hernandez Jr. On social media, his aunt called him a precious little man. But there were also stories of survival. Cameras caught an emotional moment as a grandmother was reunited with her granddaughter. In nearby Smith Station, a popular bar was gutted to the studs. The owner was sitting in his truck just feet away.
I seen the trash swirling in the air across the hill over there, and I said, oh no, this ain't good.
Just across the street, Charlie Patel was inside as his gas station was torn to pieces.
Just I'm on the counter, and 10 seconds in the tornado come and everything is gone, everything destroyed.
Alabama wasn't the only state to see some serious storms. There were more than a dozen reports of tornadoes in Georgia. This is drone video of Talbotton, where homes were left in piles of wood and cars were tossed. Folks in nearby Ellerslie say everything was gone before they even knew what happened.
Everything that's been built for 19 years.
Gone.
In a blink of an eye.
To give you a sense of the loss of life here, all last year, tornadoes killed 10 people across the country. Yesterday, tornadoes killed more than twice as many people in this one Alabama county.
Estamos chegando aqui na Praia do Araruna, local chamado Morro do Padre, onde aqui nós encontramos uma baleia imensa. Olha aqui. Muito grande. Nossa equipe da Secretaria Municipal de Meio Ambiente está tentando adentrar o espaço. Muito dificultoso o caminho até aqui. As aves de rapinas, na verdade, elas que nos chamaram nossa atenção. Gente, é muito grande. E já caí. Eu tô me espetando toda aqui, no meio do turiá. Ai, meu Deus. Nossa, que coisa grande. Olha só, pra vocês terem noção do tamanho do animal. É imensa. Pessoal, essa é a baleia que encalhou aqui em Soure. na praia do Araruna, mas eu imaginei que ela estivesse na praia mesmo. No entanto, ela está aqui para dentro. A maré grande conseguiu trazê-la, arrastá-la aqui para bem dentro.
A direct hit is unlikely, but our coast will still come off second best when Cyclone Omar brushes past. King tides and huge waves are already smashing ashore, and we haven't seen the worst yet.
Hovering out at sea, but Cyclone Omar's reach even has the usually straight-talking forecasters excited.
The diameter of this system is huge.
From Ballina all the way to Bundaberg in Queensland, a treasured coastline feeling the brunt of a pumped-up king tide and a powerful surf. This restaurateur only had one option: build a wall.
We were told that this wall wouldn't work, so I'm pretty proud of it, but she's holding for now.
Omar is just as erratic as it is big. It's been downgraded twice, and the belief is the cyclone will not make landfall this weekend. But even a glancing blow will still hurt.
Don't go camping, don't go boating, don't go fishing, don't go swimming, and don't go surfing.
But that warning got lost in the wash of some perfect waves at Kira on the Gold Coast. Surfers were loving Omar. At one point, they were even fighting over her.
Yeah, I think it might be fine. It's pretty crowded, so it's hard to get a good wave, but when you get one, it's worth it.
Heaven for surfers and arguably hell for those on this cruise. Bound for Brisbane, but stuck in the Pacific. Flying was just as bumpy, this pilot backing out at the last second when coming into land on the Gold Coast.
So this is what you're seeing in front of me right now. One of the fish farms must have broke open, and there's hundreds and hundreds of fish being washed ashore.
Bartholomew has lived kitty corner from Water Gremlin for more than 30 years.
We want answers. The whole neighborhood wants answers.
About a month ago, he found out the air he has been breathing may have been contaminated with a cancer-causing chemical.
It was also disheartening to read on a board there that they had failures back in 2002, 2003 that we weren't aware of.
Founded in 1949, Water Gremlin makes fishing sinkers and battery terminal posts. The business was supposed to have pollution control equipment in place to remove the chemical from the air before it left the building, but that equipment hasn't been working since at least 2009.
Our concern is that this has had some health impacts to people in the community.
The facility was checked several times a year throughout that time period, but investigators didn't notice the flaw and the company didn't report it.
We expect that a facility as sophisticated as they are ought to know when their pollution equipment is not working.
On Thursday night, agency officials took questions from the community and laid out the risk factors of this exposure. Breathing in high concentrations of the carcinogen can cause kidney cancer, liver cancer, and lymphoma.
It is something that at the federal level they are trying to ban right now.
The Pollution Control Agency was made aware that the company violated the air permit back in July, but the company was only asked to shut down the coding process in late January. With all of this concerning information coming to light, Bartholomew says his planned move from the neighborhood may be coming too late.
My wife is retiring, I'm retiring, and we were planning on selling and downsizing this summer, so it will be interesting to see what the results are from this.
The cremation of a 69-year-old in Arizona may have put others at risk of radiation exposure. Time reports around half of Americans are cremated after death, but this time in 2017 was different because the man was recently injected with a radiopharmaceutical. A new research letter published in JAMA says the man was treated at the Mayo Clinic, Arizona, 2 days before his death. They injected him with lutetium-177 to help combat his pancreatic cancer. He died at a second hospital where doctors didn't know about his medical history. Kevin Nelson, a radiation safety officer at the Mayo Clinic and co-author of the study, said they were expecting the man to come back for another treatment in 8 weeks, saying they found out he died shortly after his treatment. Although some states forbid the cremation of radioactive material, Arizona has no regulations that require crematoriums to know about a patient's exposure to radiotherapy. Time reports the crematorium and its operator were tested for radiation exposure. Low levels of lutetium-177 were found in the cremation chamber, however they didn't find any in the urine of the cremation operator. They did find a different radiopharmaceutical that the operator could have gotten while cremating another person's remains. That's according to Dr. Nathan Yu, Mayo Clinic radiation oncologist and co-author of the research. Yu noted that radiation exposure is not uncommon, and the levels in the operator's urine were likely not more than the Nuclear Regulatory Commission's annual limit for the public. However, he says if there are ways to minimize or avoid radioactivity, that's a reasonable thing to do.
Holy
caught on camera.
That's not going to come down here, is it? No, that is. Is it?
An avalanche barreling down on I-70 just west of Frisco and just feet in front of Jacob Easton and his father.
All of a sudden, we just saw me and my dad both just saw like a big white cloud to the left of us. And we instantly noticed it's the avalanche.
So Jacob pulled his car over to the side and came face to face with the fury of Mother Nature.
We saw the clouds getting bigger and bigger and just coming down faster and faster. It's exciting and also kind of nerve-wracking because you don't know when it's going to stop, how much, if you're going to be in front of it, if it's going to come to you.
Thankfully, the snow slowed down before it hit Jacob's car, but not before it left a big impact on him. He and his dad were on this snowpacked stretch of I-70 about 7:45 Sunday morning, headed to hit the slopes when they were covered with fresh snow at Copper Mountain.
I actually wanted to go up do this tree run. I was thinking about doing it earlier. But right when I saw that, I was like, maybe not.
Jacob will have to wait another day for backcountry snowboarding. But he'll always have this memory of an avalanche and the danger that comes with so much snow.
Holy that was freaking I was like, yo, look at that avalanche.
Amazingly, no one was hurt in that avalanche, but that was incredible to see.
An earthquake rattled the western slope this morning, a 4.6 magnitude quake hit near Dove Creek. That's about 60 miles south of Grand Junction. The quake hit at about a half-mile deep in an area known as the Western Paradox Basin. We have not heard any reports of damage from that yet.
Tonight, we're learning about an earthquake that struck tonight near Alamosa. Happened right at 8:39. Here's a look at the map. This is between the Great Sand Dunes and Blanca Peak. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, based in Golden, it registered 3.8 on the Richter scale. People in the nearby town of Zapata, the subdivision there, say they felt it.
There are no reports of damage yet. If we hear of any, we will let you know.